Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully and welcome back to Ratchet and Clank 3 Up Yours Asshole, and today, we're finishing it tonight, goddammit! Or at the very least at the end of this session, goddammit! By which I mean the, takeover of Iridia, not the game just yet, because we got about 2 more parts, I'd say, before the end of the game, so... yeah, we really are hitting in-game territory at this point. But I mean, really, it's, Iridia is actually very brief. I suppose part of that could be attributed to perhaps, I guess the very brief nature of the place itself. Excuse me, just gonna take care of this little thing that was on the microphone for some reason. I blame my cat, because she's a cute little flopper that just does a big flop, because she's a cat. What am I talking about anymore? I don't know, but I don't wanna die. But yeah, pretty much what you were doing before, just jump up and down, flip side to side and avoid the eventual destruction of the laser cannons guarded by shields. But again, your strafing skills will be put to the test. And again, like I mean, similar to Ratchet and Clank 2... excuse me. Actually, did Ratchet and Clank 2 have this control scheme where you could lock strafe if you so choose? I don't know. I believe you can also play the game in first person if you want as well. But that was something you had to unlock in Ratchet 2, whereas here you can do it from the get-go. I don't know, but we're getting a gadget now, so enjoy.
Hey, Sarge, over here!
What the?
Pretty cool, huh? It's called a warp pad. Great for running away. Yeah, I got an extra one.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the warp pad in due time, but in the meantime, we gotta return to the Starship Phoenix, where Al's gotta decode a data disk. Which is the only date he's ever gonna get, cause he's a fucking nerd. Oh, I just made myself feel bad. Because I am a nerd. Dun dun dun! Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna die alone. Sniff.
Hey Al, what's up?
Let's see. The neural matrix of this autonomous simulacrum retains an imprint of the template's original psyche embedded at its core level.
You lost me after... let's see.
He means it may be possible to reverse the process.
Dude, what a trip.
Cool, I guess. Al, we recovered a data disk from Nefarious' cruiser. Can you decode it?
Of course. Yes. Ooh. Omega-class asymmetric encryption. Finally, a challenge worthy of my skills. Oh, by the way, we found something interesting in Quark's quarters.
Hey, if it's another crotchetizer, I don't even want to...
It is a Quark vid comic. Specifically, it is episode 5 of the Dr. Nefarious series. But as everyone knows, only 4 issues were ever published. Not even my pals in the Quark Cadets fan club have ever heard of this issue. And those guys are real geeks, if you know what I mean.
I sure do. Thanks, Al. We'll check it out.
A mysterious vid comic that was never released. It's like getting your hands on a prototype beta disc thing and no Captain Quark. The final time I'll be able to do that.
This is the true story that Captain Quark hoped you would never see. The unauthorized, uncensored, and utterly unbelievable missing chapter of the Quark comic series. Pure discretion is advised.
Just a word of advice, Nefarious. Quit while you're ahead.
And so, Quark believed that the threat posed to the galaxy had been ended forever. But he was dead wrong.
Bottoms up.
Somebody say something.
What took you so long?
I was picking out some new curtains for the torture chamber. They're crushed velvet with a gold lame trim. Oh, I think they really add life to the space.
Never mind them now. Grab Quark and let's get out of here.
Of course, sir.
Oh, Quark. I've never met a man like you. After you, I'll be ruined for other men.
That's what they all say. Where am I?
You're in my secret prison, awaiting the most ingenious and depraved punishment I can possibly imagine. Come, Lawrence. It's time for my massage.
Oh, goody.
Using his antenna as a lockpick, Quark eventually managed to open the door to his cell.
Almost got it.
thought his escape did not go unnoticed.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, you can well, again, not really at this point, but you can kind of see why Captain Quark wanted this one stricken from the records, because it kind of portrays him, well, it's more so for the ending than anything else, but I mean, not only does it reveal that Nefarious survived, which I guess he didn't want Galactic Records to officially know, for the sake of his heroism status, but I suppose also, I guess for his embarrassing wet dream about Courtney Gears? I probably shouldn't be thinking too much about that, but yeah, basically all ties into Quark's cowardice, and I guess maybe what was the slippery slope leading to him becoming the, well, I guess the pawn for hire for Chairman Drek and his low point by doing the whole protopet thing. I mean, it actually is brought up by Ratchet later in conversation in the upcoming cutscene, but yeah. This final level is really more of like a get away from the toxic ice water before time runs out. I guess Quark dies of hypothermia or something, I don't really know. Actually, no, according to, Nefarious and Lawrence, it's actually meant to be like a boiling acid. Oh, sorry, boiling acid! As that, one guard from Batman Forever said. I might even put in the clip. But anyway, it's just avoid the globules of whatever the fuck. Again, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass if you're trying to go for an all-token run, but again, this is, again, by design of the fact that you gotta hurry the fuck up, is actually pretty essential for speedrunning. And actually is one of the stages where I think you might get the skill point the easiest, depending on how quick you are. Like, I mean, you do have very blocky level design obstructing your path, but again, if you're adept at jumping and gunning, then, again, it should be a pretty decent cinch to you. And, thankfully the music is a lot less boopy-doop than it was in previous stages, so, yeah, that's something, I guess. I don't know. Suppose, do they ever bring these back in future games? Like, so I don't seem to recall them ever doing that. Unless it was in, like, All for One, maybe. The only time I remember it being close to a thing was Into the Nexus with the Clank Netherworld sequences. Whatever. And of course, we get paid in bolts. If only I could get that, then I, wouldn't be worrying about a lot of my finances right now. Whew. Damn it, Ratchet and Clank, you got it lucky, dudes.
After his narrow escape from the clutches of Dr. Nefarious, Quark dropped out of the public eye. Truth is, Quark was holed up in his secret hideout on the Thran Asteroid, terrified that Dr. Nefarious would make good on his promise of revenge. When Nefarious didn't resurface, Quark assumed he was gone forever and returned to his career as a high-profile celebrity superhero. But the galaxy had not seen the last of Dr. Nefarious.
Ouch! What do you think you're doing, you oaf?
Do hold still, sir. This is a very delicate procedure. There, that should do the trick. Go ahead, take her for a spin.
What's going on? Where are my arms? Whose butt is this?
Oh, my mistake, sir. Dreadfully sorry.
Janice.
Oh, Lance.
Oh my. We will have to get that fixed. One of these days.
I should have known Quark was full of it.
But why would Quark lie to us?
Dude, Quark is bogus, bogus, bogus.
You can ask him yourself when we see him. According to this vid comic, Quark has a secret hideout in the Thran Asteroid Belt. I've got a hunch he's there right now.
He says he wants to come with us.
I don't think that... Oh, wait a minute. You speak monkey?
Oh, just enough to get by.
Now what?
He says you have ears like a Florana dung beaver.
Yeah, hilarious. Let's see if he's still laughing when he finds out his pal Quark is working with Nefarious.
Major bogus.
Surely Quark would never...
He teamed up with Drek, didn't he? And I know I don't have to remind you about that protopet business. Who knows what he's capable of?
So that's pretty much Ratchet and Clank's thought process. And again, like, I mean, considering Ratchet right here, he's pretty on the money with that, because, I mean, given the fact that Quark was more than willing to sell people out, like, I mean, the dude is a coward first and foremost, but, like, at the same time, it's hard not to see history repeating itself, so I don't blame him for being untrustworthy of Quark. And I guess another thing I also want to bring up, like, I can see why he struck that vid comic from the record, because it kind of reveals his, like, secret hideout base thing, so, like, I mean, it's kind of like the equivalent of handing out your home address in, like, a video game, which, again, as we all learned in the... Actually, no, I think I might... It was either... I think I might have either brought it up in the Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko video, or it might have been Enter the Gecko, actually. Yeah, that's a bit of a faux pas for game developers, so, yeah. But anyway, a lot to talk about with the Thran Asteroid Belt, actually. For one thing, its music is actually really fucking sick. Like, this is up there with one of my favorite soundtracks in the game. It's got... It's amazing. And as you might have noticed with some of the ankle-biter enemies, yeah, those are the lawn ninjas that you would have seen in the advertisements from Ratchet and Clank 2. So, yeah. It seems that Quark's job at the Megacorp-tastic facility has given him a few benefits from some of the defective products. Actually, I'm trying to think here, actually, yeah, I think the lawn ninjas are the only returning thing. He does also have a lot of Quark bots, which are actually one of the more annoying enemies in the game. It's mainly because, again, they're heavily armored, they have a lot of power behind them, and on top of that, they also have, like, this Terminator-inspired, like, crawling on the ground animation where they try and lunge at Ratchet and Clank, so... Yeah, that's, yeah, that makes them a very big pain in the ass. Now we also get to the warp pad. Again, it functions... Again, this is pretty much the way in which the Galactic Rangers used to warp in and out of places. But again, activate the teleport disc, warp around to the other side, and, well, Ratchet will pretty much warp to that position. And you use that to solve some very limited puzzles, so... Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. We'll talk about the warp pad a little bit later in regards to something else, but one thing I want to bring up here is namely to do with, well, the fact that this level can be a bit of a pain in the ass for the fact that, again, ice physics, which makes dealing with enemies, damage, and oncoming lasers a bit of a pain in the ass. Again, as I keep saying, the Rift Inducer / Rift Ripper is your best friend in this situation. But also the fact that they stuff a lot of this place with enemies makes it a bit treacherous. I mean, again, it's mainly for the Quark bots, like the turrets that you're seeing over there aren't really too big of an issue, but again, you get a good mix of platforming, you get a good mix of action, so yeah, a pretty decent stage overall, just one that the difficulty spike is a bit of a hachi-machi. I believe if you kind of like jimmy yourself over there, it's actually a little bit difficult to do, but if you go off to the side of the wall, over to the right, and wall jump from there up to the upper pillars, you actually end up getting a returning skill point from Ratchet and Clank 2, which is Break the Dan, where you destroy a snowman named Dan. Which is actually a bit of an in-joke with an Insomniac game, well, ex-Insomniac Games employee actually, because I believe he left to High Impact Games shortly after Ratchet and Clank 2. But yeah, it was a developer gag for Dan Johnson, who was a pretty favoured Insomniac developer who worked on Spyro the Dragon and, you know, Ratchet and Clank. And he actually ended up, I believe he died in like 2006, and was paid tribute to in Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, and I believe also Crack in Time actually, because he ended up getting a skin as like one of the skins you can wear in Crack in Time in the Future trilogy. So yeah, that's I mean, I didn't really know the man or for much of what he did, but hey, he made it into video games, and at the end of the day, I think it was a good way to celebrate his memory. I believe he was also given an honor to his memory with Size Matters as well. But again, it's always nice to see game developers pay tribute to their fallen brothers like that. I forgot what I was going to say after that, but yeah, fuck it. And here's where you get the Captain Quark trophy, which is a lot more apropos than finding Big Al on Tyrannosis or Scrunch on Metropolis for some reason. Seriously, why do they give a monkey a trophy? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Again, to also talk about developer commentary, there was initially meant to be a cutscene with Ratchet and Clank confronting Quark outside his force field, which I guess some of the dialogue seems to imply, but I think it was due to time constraints actually that they ended up having to basically just push this off to the side and basically have like a Devil May Cry-esque point camera towards thing and make player go there. I mean, it's useful design, but I mean, I get the impression that Insomniac couldn't really do everything that they wanted. And I guess, since I will probably have very few times to talk about it, and especially with a boring segment of Clank like this, yeah, might as well bring it up. And again, I've alluded to this all throughout the commentary, but Ratchet and Clank 3 actually had a bit of a troubled development cycle. Like, I mean, it was given like a 1-year time crunch, similar to what we had with Ratchet and Clank 2, but while Insomniac was all raring to go with Ratchet and Clank 2, yeah, I believe it was Sony actually who wanted them to get immediately to work on a sequel, because Ratchet and Clank 2 did fucking gangbusters when it first came out, and when it came to development for Ratchet and Clank 3, not only with the multiplayer component. Basically, it seemed to be a struggle for ideas, but also a struggle to basically get the game as polished as you can get, because, like, I mean, as I mentioned before, there's no rail grinding, there's no racing missions, there's no starship missions, so again, like, I mean, Insomniac really had to haul ass and streamline the game in a way that, well, I don't think the game was quite what they wanted it to be, but through perseverance and, you know, managing to streamline the game where they could, and of course focusing the game to the degree where it would be playable without missing too much of what makes Ratchet and Clank, I'd say given the circumstances they did a really good job, and bear in mind, while they did have a bigger development staff to work with this time around, it's also important to note that a lot of the big head honchos at this time were busy working on Resistance Fall of Man, because bear in mind the PlayStation 3 was, you know, a thing in 2004, it's just the developers were only just getting to grips with it, and again, as I'm sure a lot of people probably know, or at least for those of you not in the know, yeah, the PS3 was a bit of a bitch to develop for back in the early days of its life cycle. Like, I mean, it did catch up by the end of the generation, but early on it was pretty much the Sega Saturn of its time, really. It was powerful, but it was difficult to program for. Again, it was mainly due to the architecture. Like, I mean, it was kind of commonplace for a lot of games back then, but I mean, if you wanted to make ports of anything, it had to be done through Xbox 360. It could be done on the PS3, but there were a lot of stability issues that a lot of developers didn't really figure out until, like, I'd say around, like, 2008, 2010. I don't know, only really specific developers who work closely with Sony, like, you know, Insomniac and Naughty Dog really got to grips with it, and even then, yeah, a lot of people had issues with it. But again, like, I mean, I think that is part of the reason why a lot of people do have the issues with Ratchet and Clank, not necessarily for the gameplay quality standard on its own, but more so for the fact that it just didn't quite have the time to really polish or implement a lot of the ideas that, you know, it otherwise would have been able to. But at the same time, though, when you're playing the game for yourself, it's not something that you really tend to notice very much. And it's more so in the sense that what Insomniac decided to cut and streamline was basically stuff that was extra. Like, I mean, with rail grinding, it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world. It wasn't quite like, you know, Sonic Adventure or Sly Raccoon where you had any degree of control over it. It was just something you could do for the sake of an exciting set piece. So, like, I mean, it wasn't as if you were losing a good chunk of the game, and same with the racing missions. Like, I mean, they were exciting in Ratchet and Clank 2 and Ratchet 1, but I mean, if you couldn't top what you had in either of those games, then, you know, it's best not to include an inferior version of what you've seen before. So again, like, I mean, I think Insomniac made the right call, and the fact that Ratchet and Clank 3 is considered by some to be one of the best games in the series, I think lives up to how replayable and how refined the control scheme for Ratchet and Clank, from a general gameplay standpoint, really is, so... like, I mean, when it comes to anything else, or at least just talking about the formula tacitly as its own thing, I don't know, I think it just goes to show why this franchise has such longevity, and why, I guess, Insomniac's passion for the series has lasted even to this day. Because, I mean, that's not something you can really say, because, like, I mean, most Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch especially said goodbye to their franchises when they felt it was time. But Insomniac have a lot of love for their characters, and, again, like, while Ratchet and Clank might have changed to a degree that not a lot of people would have really liked, I am still glad that they kept the franchise going, and continue to have some more innovative ideas with the new team that they have, and, you know, still keep it going in spite of Spider-Man being a big success. But anyway, that's just my ramble over with, so on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keeping new metal, and yeah, let's confront Captain Quark about his cowardly betrayal. Catch you next time.
Hey, little buddy, how'd you find me here?
We found your secret vid comic, Quark.
Oh, that. Well, I don't expect you to understand. You'll probably look at me and think, I'd give anything for a body like that. For just one drop of his raw animal magnetism, one iota of his impeccable...
Can we just skip to the end, please?
Let's see, where was I? Sexy, charming, brilliant, iron, hard, abs. Ah, yes, but despite my outward appearance of utter perfection, well,
Deep inside, you're a cowardly wuss?
No, not exactly. When I escaped from that star cruiser, cheating death by mere nanoseconds, I suddenly realized something very important. I could have died! Me, Captain Quark! Imagine an entire galaxy with no more me! And for what cause? So, a few trillion people get turned into robots. Who am I to say who should or shouldn't be turned into a robot?
You're pathetic, Quark. I can't believe I once looked up to you. Let's go, Clank.
The people of this galaxy need you, Quark. They believe in you. You can give them hope. You have a chance to redeem yourself and become the hero you have always wanted to be.